not going to be in cross-section, but I can see right here, cuboidal cells here. Kind of flattens cuboidal cells, but they are still cuboidal. So over here. So this is a duct that you're seeing here. So basically all of the saliva being made by these acini is getting dumped into this duct and transported into your mouth. Yeah? So that's sublingual. The other one to show you on this same slide is the parotid gland. And again, with the parotid gland, I said the parotid gland is almost entirely serous. So if I look here, I again get these little clusters of cells. They're really compact in the parotid gland. So each one of these little kind of clustery sections, that's a serous acinus, a little cluster of cells. A serous acinus. Over here, a serous acinus. So each of those little clusters of cells is a serous acinus. Then in here, I can see, oh, there's a ring of cuboidal epithelium. There's a duct. That's a tiny duct. As I come over here, this would be a larger duct over here. Here's a duct cut longitudinally. So the ducts, I should always be able to see the lumen really nicely and be able to see that epithelium on the edges. And the epithelium is anywhere from cuboidal to columnar, depending upon the size of the duct. Okay? There's another nice little duct way down here. So serous acinus, duct. And again, because it's all serous acini, the organ is the parotid gland. Okay. Now with slide 9, one other slide to look at today, and that is slide of the stomach. Now in different textbooks and atlases, there are different regions of the stomach. We talked about those today, right? There's a fundus, there's a cardia, there's a body. Advanced histologists can actually look at a slide of the stomach and tell you which part of the stomach you're in. You guys do not need to do that. You just need to recognize that it's stomach. So as you look at the labels, I'm just mentioning this because as you look in your atlas, it might label it fundic stomach or cardiac stomach. You don't need to make those distinctions. You just need to recognize it as being stomach. Okay, so just to be clear on that. All right, so when I look over here, get to a good area of the slide first. There's a lot on this slide. All right, I'm going to keep us down at low power first, and then I'll zoom in as I need to. All right, let's focus it a little bit more. Okay, so this is the slide of stomach. So up here, where it's white, way up here, this would be the lumen of the stomach. That's where your food is sitting, right? So this is the lumen of the stomach. So across the surface, this would be the surface of the stomach. Now the surface epithelium on the stomach is oftentimes ripped off on these slides. So see how there's no epithelium right here? There should be, right? There would be epithelium there in real life. Of course, the whole thing would have to have epithelium on the surface. Just don't be surprised if it's ripped off in certain areas, okay? So this is the surface of the stomach. So this right here, dipping down right there, that's one gastric pit. Come back up to the surface. Here's another gastric pit. Come across here. Here's a gastric pit. Come across here, gastric pit. Come across here, gastric pit. So you're following those down into the surface, from the surface. Down here, all these things that show up as these little circles, like here, or here, or here, or here, or all the way down to here, those are gastric glands. It's not like in the drawings where you can actually follow the pit and watch it split up, because these things kind of wiggle around. And so you're going to keep cutting through it in different circular profiles. That has to do with the way it was cut. You have to realize that this gland that I'm pointing at must be connected to one of these pits up here. Has to be. You're just not seeing that connection because of the plane of section, because of the way it's been cut. So you've got a gastric pit here, gastric gland, gastric gland, gastric gland. If I ask you to tell me about the layer inside that gastric pit, what tissue would I find inside that pit? What was that? I heard it. Simple columnar epithelium. Remember, simple columnar epithelium is at the surface, dips down inside the pit. There's also simple columnar epithelium inside this gland. Right? So if I said to name the structure, it's a gastric gland. Name the layer lining this structure, that is simple columnar epithelium. What about if I pointed out here and said, name this layer? Lamina propria. Same thing if I pointed over here. That's still lamina propria, except between the glands. Yeah? Then what I'm seeing kind of loosens up through here where I don't see it as well. But right through here, from about here to here, it's a little denser. And then I see a change from there down. Everybody see that? That there's a little change in the tissue right along through here. So right here is muscularis mucosa, where it's more densely packed. And then under here, where it's a little looser looking, all of this would be submucosa. These are blood vessels right here. Those are big blood vessels. So the blood vessels would be found in that submucosal layer. So, one more time. This layer, simple columnar epithelium. This layer, lamina propria. This layer, muscularis mucosa. What if I put a bracket from here all the way to the surface and said name that layer? Mucosa. So on a slide, I can't really point at the mucosa. I have to print something out and bracket together all three layers to show you mucosa. If I am pointing, you need to be specific. Simple columnar epithelium, lamina propria, muscularis mucosa. Right? The only way I can show you mucosa is by bracketing all three of those parts together. That's the mucosa. Yeah? Okay. What structure is this?
Gastric pit.
Gastric pit. What structure is this? Gastric gland. Yeah? Okay, so now let's cruise down a little bit. So if I'm looking here, again, remember this was the muscularis mucosa, we just saw that. Then from here to here, that would be submucosa. Because I'm seeing all those blood vessels, I'm seeing some adipose mixed in there. It's a connective tissue bed. Then I get some more dense tissue. So here and here, all of that muscularis externa. Remember, the stomach does have three layers: oblique, circular, longitudinal. But the oblique and the circular blend together. They're hard to distinguish on the slide. So this is both oblique and circular, and here's your longitudinal. Remember I said on the slide, you're only going to be able to really distinguish two layers. And then I come down a little bit more. And on the very outside, way out here, this would be your visceral peritoneum. So visceral peritoneum, muscularis externa, still muscularis externa, submucosa. Are you with me? Okay. Let's now look at J-dot histo web. So J-dot histo web is on